council decided to restore the park because we undertook a site survey of the park a few years ago, and it identified that rather than conditions improving at the park, they'd actually deteriorated over a number of years. So we decided to set in motion a restoration project that took about 5 years from start to finish to complete, that as well as restoring some of the historical parts of the park, it also introduced some new and improved features for park users.
We used Lady Somerset's developments at the park as our reference point because there were still remains of the landscape available for us to see. There was also a very good photographic record, and because she was a society hostess, there was many photographs in magazines at the time. There were three things that gave us some difficulty. One is that it's a large park, and we required the contractor to keep as much of it open as possible while the works were going on. Secondly, there were some very large trees that we had to move, something we'd never tackled before. And finally, there's a lot of archaeology in the park, and dealing with that, keeping it recorded and preserved whilst keeping to the contract was quite a task.
The actual moving of some of the trees from the old avenue to create some of the roundels, although technically it was quite tricky. We had to bring in this machine over from Germany, which actually came and physically lifted the whole root ball and moved the tree into its new hole. It actually went very smoothly. With the lake restoration, the key element of that was removing the silt. So we took out about over 7,000 cubic metres of silt from the lake, which had a huge impact on the water quality there. And then we created a new inlet and a new outflow structure to get the levels right within the lake. Well, what we were aiming for with the children's play area was to have a very naturalistic feel. So rather than go for the rubber matting and the bright colours, we went more for the natural materials. So we've gone for the sand, the timber, the rocks, and a lot of planting to create a more natural environment.
The most obvious feature of the modern features we've brought into the park is the skate park. There had been a skate park there before, but in very poor condition. There's now a large concrete skate bowl. We also introduced tennis courts, a petanque square, and a youth shelter. You'll have seen the pavilion in the park. That was designed through an architectural competition by a French architect, Dominique Perrault. It's a circular stainless steel and reflective glass structure that close up the building disappears into the landscape. It turns green with the reflections, but from a distance on the hillside it takes on the picture of a sort of sparkling jewel set in the landscape.
Right from the start, the council's had a plan for maintaining the park right into the future in order to make sure that what we've spent and invested in the park is protected and kept right at its best.
Well, it has been a success, and that can be seen by, firstly, the amount of people that now use the park. It's a phenomenal number that come here every day to use the children's playground and just to take in the scenery as well. But it's also been recognised nationally with the Green Flag Award, and also being nominated and shortlisted for the Condé Nast Traveller Awards last year.